Hello, everyone. Welcome back once again. I'm Nicodemus Kane. Today is October the 6th of 2022, and today we're going to read Isaiah chapter 51. Um, I haven't really paid attention to anything that's going on in the world. Is anything going on in the world? I'm sure there is. I'm sure there's all kinds of stuff going on in the world. I haven't been following anything, though. Yesterday I had to kind of knuckle down and do work, so I wasn't really paying too much attention to the world. I know that things just keep on going the way that they're going. Evil men keep doing evil things, and good men keep sitting on their hands and do nothing. So that's pretty much that. Um, I'm sure there were some other things that I was going to say, but I don't remember what they were. So we're not going to worry about it. I let's just jump right into this, I guess. As soon as I start talking too, my nose starts running, of course. And my throat's been hurting a lot. Yesterday, after I got done talking, after I got done recording the video I did yesterday, my throat was raw. I mean, right at the very end, I think I even said something on the video about my throat being pretty raw. And today I'm waking up and my throat is still raw and my nose is stuffed up. And I'm thinking it's time to turn the heat on. Ooh. Because it's starting to get cold. I think it said it's supposed to get up to 70, 75, 77 today. But then for the rest of the week, this weekend, it's supposed to get down into the 30s. This is Indiana, by the way, central Indiana. But it's supposed to get down to the 30s, and it's supposed to be cold. So I think it's time to turn the heat on. I think it's getting to be about that time, gang. Sooner or later they're gonna have to pull that dark winter card. I'm not gonna say that it's gonna be this winter, but I'm just saying that they've already threatened it. So you just never know when it's gonna come. They've actually run tests too, or not tests, drills. The dark winter drills. Not only that, but they've run so many drills over the past 10 years. I look back at all the drills that I remember hearing about. There was one, it wasn't in New York, it was somewhere else, that it was back in 2017, 2016, somewhere around there. They were running a drill based upon an outbreak of a virus or something, and they were doing crowd control. I think there was another one around 2017, 2018, where they were drilling for an EMP attack or a power outage or something like that. Then there was another one about 2018, 2019. I think it was for a nuclear attack, because that was back whenever China was like shooting missiles, seeing how far missiles could go. Apparently now North Korea is shooting missiles too. So I don't know. Prepare yourself for whatever's going to happen. I don't know what's going on anymore. But of course, they did all those, and those were basically crowd control drills to see how the military would respond to crowds of people, and the best way to herd them into, what do you want to call it? Herd them into the places where they need to be. Of course, every major false flag event that we've ever had for the past 20 years has had some kind of drill preceded, sometimes either the same day or sometimes the day or week before. I've already talked about some of this stuff. I'm going to have to blow my nose now because it's starting to get me. Hold on a second. Not to mention, just talking is starting to agitate my throat. So I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to go here. But yeah, every single event, whether you want to call it a false flag or not, for the past 20 years, 20, oh wow, 21 years, it's 2022 now, so 21 years has been preceded by a drill. Some kind of maneuvers in order to test or in order to prepare themselves, let's put it that way, in order to prepare themselves for the thing that happened. Whether it be, I don't know, an attack on a building or attack on a country using airplanes, or whether it be an attack on a marathon using bombs, or whether it be a school shooting, or whether it be a virus outbreak, or whether it be a bombing inside of a subway system. There has always been a drill before it. Again, whether a day, whether a week, I mean, hell, sometimes the same day. So it's so amazing. I have to really, really give it up to the governments of the world for being prepared. I said that better some other way. I have to. You have to give it up to these people for being so prepared, for having the foresight, knowing that these things could very well happen, and that they drilled their emergency teams, they drilled their police, they drilled their governments to make sure that when it came time that these things should happen, that they were ready. That's just one of those things that you just kind of wish that you could point people to and just be like, look, man, you know, it's not a coincidence that these things happen. Yeah, you would think even the police that are out there, cleaning up these drills, like we would talk to these cops and ask them, aren't you glad you were prepared for this? I mean, but nobody ever talks to the cops. Nobody ever talks to the EMTs. Nobody ever talks to the firemen and ask them, aren't you glad that you had these drills a couple weeks ago that prepared you for this? Aren't you glad that you were 100% ready to go? Nobody ever talks to them, though. There's probably a reason why. I'm just saying. Of course, then again, everybody always asks questions. Well, if it happened that way, then why aren't the crisis actors? Why don't they come forward and say, well, we just did this such and such, and we planned for this very thing, and all this other kind of stuff. And it's like, how much money would it take for you to keep quiet? Really ask yourself that question. How much money would it take for you to keep quiet? I mean, let's not even talk about if you would happen to blab, because as soon as you open your mouth, you die. Or your family dies. Or something else. I mean, let's just say that you You participated in one of these drills, and somebody came up to you and said, "Oh, hey, by the way, you can make some more money, but it's kind of, on a hush hush kind of thing." So they bring you into an office and they kind of give you the spiel. They just kind of say, "Hey, we might take this live." They might do something else before that to kind of vet you to make sure that you're not going to go talk to anybody else about it. But they might say something like, "We might take this live. Now we're offering you a pretty decent amount of money, maybe six figures. Name your price." Something along those lines. How much money would it take for you to keep quiet? Because really, some people sell themselves out really short. Some people might say, "Oh, I'd take $20, $30 million." You got to remember, $20, $30 million to these people is chump change. It's nothing. Because NASA, their deception department, I believe that now. NASA is the United States government's deception department. We funnel, somebody said now it's $61 million a day. A day. $61 million a day. We funnel into NASA in order for them to show us cartoons, CGI. But I absolutely believe that all the money that goes into NASA goes into the deception of what we see. It goes into paying crisis actors. It goes into paying newscasters. It goes into paying all of these actors that are on television that call themselves astronauts or call themselves scientists or call themselves whatever. I absolutely 100% agree, or believe, not agree, believe that is what that is. NASA is not a space agency. It is a deception agency. The very word NASA is the spelling of the word for deception. It's the Hebrew word for deception. A lot of people say, no, it's not because of the thing. You move the apostrophe, it means something else. And all that. It doesn't matter. It's the spelling of the word deception. NASA exists simply to deceive. We funnel $61 million a day into NASA. A day, 365 days a year. I think somebody said it was like 27, 30 something billion dollars a year. That's crazy. And people say, well, it would take $1 million, maybe $10 million. For the upper guys, it'd be $20 million. That's nothing. $60 million a day. That's nothing. If they paid every single person $1 million a year to keep quiet about the stuff that they do, a year, and if they had 50 crisis actors on one thing, it gets paid off in a day. They get paid off in a day. And every year, NASA gets a little bit more money. And you wonder why. So the deceptions can get bigger and bigger and bigger. It's a deception department. That's all it is. Anyways, it's one of those things again that whenever you tell everybody, oh, it's all lies, and they are just trying to deceive you, and everybody asks the questions, well, sure. Excuse me. A little hiccup burp there going on. When people ask the question, well, how can all these people live with themselves? How could they not tell the truth? Surely somebody's going to tell the truth. Surely somebody's going to come out and spill the beans. Well, how do you know they don't? Most people are so stupid that they think that they can just go to like their local news station or call up a local news reporter or a local journalist or something without even contemplating the fact that these people are paid to be deceptive as well. There are no real journalists anymore. And if they are, you're not hearing their voice. Their voice is stymied somewhere else. But I'm sure that if somebody participates in this, not only is it about money, not only is it about, oh, I get to make $1 million a year for the rest of my life because I did this thing. I think there's also there's also the whole thing about we know your family. We know your family. If they're not already family, if they're not already in the family, the big, elite family, we know your family. We know your kids. We know your mother, your father. We know your aunt and uncle. We could very easily wipe out everybody you know in one day, and you couldn't do a damn thing about it because accidents happen. Cancer happens. Heart attacks happen. These things happen almost overnight now. It's it's amazing how many people will speak up and then 2 days later they just magically die of like cancer or a heart attack or something. It's ridiculous. They have the technology to be able to do this. They know where you live. It is a sick, demented, cruel world. If you don't open your eyes to it now, you're going to be swallowed by it. But that's how they do it. That's how it works. That's exactly how it works. So anyways, Isaiah 51. Let's do this. I'm going to take one more second here to blow my nose again. Hopefully I don't choke myself to death while I'm doing it. And then we'll jump into this. So hold on a second. It's like I said, that I think it's time we turn the heat on or something, because it is definitely, if I'm waking up like this, I think it's time to start turning the heat on. This is a bit much. This is definitely a bit much. All right, Isaiah 51. My eyes are watering right now too. I'm just falling apart. It is that time to it is cold season. You know why they call them colds? Because you get them whenever your body turns cold, whenever the weather turns cold, whenever your environment gets cold. You get a cold because it's a shock to your system. It's a cold. You feed the cold. You feed the cold warm food in order to warm your body back up to a point to where you feel right. That's why they call it cold. A flu is a completely different thing. I was just thinking about this I was seriously thinking about this in the shower. You feed a cold in order to warm your body back up so that you can heal. You starve a flu because a flu is trying to push something out of your system that you put into it that's not supposed to be there. Whether it be bad food that you ate, whether it be something in your environment that is not doing you any good at all, whether it be, I was thinking about something that you breathed in that's inside of your lungs that got into your system. Mostly something you ate. It's amazing. Cold, or not cold season, flu season tends to come around a time after you gorge yourself on the worst kind of food in the world. candy, or, let's say Thanksgiving. Yeah, people usually get the flu around December. What happens 1 week before, or what happens like a week before December? It's Thanksgiving. Flu season comes around because you just eat bad food. It comes in November too. What happens a week before, what happens a day before November? The Halloween. Don't tell me you haven't been eating candy that whole week before Halloween and you get sick. When's the other time the flu season comes around? It's anywhere between March, February, let's say February and April. What are you doing in February and April that's going to make you sick? You eating candy. You eating candy, going out and partying. It's February. It's Valentine's Day, Mardi Gras. All that kind of nonsense. Putting poisons in your body. March, April, Easter. Think about this for a second. You really got to think about this for a second. It's not something you contract. It's a change in your environment. You're turning the furnaces on whenever it starts getting cold. The furnaces not only are blowing all of that garbage out of the system that's been in there for years, or for a year while they've been off, but it is also a new electronic device that is running nonstop. I mean, even the vibrations of a furnace, of the fan running in the furnace, even if it's gas powered or electric, whatever, just having the thing running could be influencing your environment. So when you're turning these things on and off, you're changing your environment. Your environment is changing. You're coming inside more. Whereas you were outside, you were in the sun, you're getting your vitamin D, you're doing, running around doing all the stuff. It's colder. You're starting to come inside. You're starting to eat more because your body naturally needs to eat more in order to pack on fat for the winter. You're eating more, you're inside more, you're not getting enough vitamin D. So what's happening is you're putting all of this toxic nonsense, your body is going through this shit transition, and you're getting sick because of it. It's flu season. It's either because you're going from one environment to the other. It's not because you're catching something from somebody. I absolutely believe this now. I always kind of believed it at one point in time because I always got sick at the same times per year. I was always like, isn't it amazing whenever it comes around? I can almost predict it. I always get sick in November, and I always get sick in. I usually get a cold around March or April, but I always wind up getting sick right dead smack in November. I definitely, right around the end of November, early December. It's almost like clockwork. I didn't last year for the first time, and I was surprised. It's because I didn't really do a Thanksgiving dinner. Not like I usually do. And not to mention the fact that we've been trapped inside the house. I've been spending a lot of time outside this year. And now that I'm trapped inside the house more, I'm starting to feel it. That's what it is. It makes sense. People knew this stuff 100 years ago. And yet, 100 years later, they tell us something completely different because science. Don't believe science, man. Don't. These people have no clue what the hell they're doing. Science is only science as far as the human body is only there in order to sell drugs. What they tell you now, it's only there in order for them to sell you drugs so that they can keep you coming back for more. They don't want to heal you. They just want to treat you so that when it happens again, you can come back. They're drug pushers. That's all it is. That's why they call them drugs. That's why they call street drugs drugs. It's because your pusher wants you to keep coming back. You get the first dose for free, but you got to pay. Then eventually, whenever you come back to get more, you got to pay a little bit more. It's a racket. All it is a racket. Isaiah 51. Let's get on this. Now that I've burned 30 minutes just talking about other stuff. Isaiah 51. Hearken to me, ye that follow after righteousness, ye that seek the Lord. Look unto the rock whence ye are hewn, and to the hole of the pit whence ye are digged. Look unto Abraham your father, and unto Sarah that bare you. For I called him alone, and blessed him, and increased him. For the Lord shall comfort Zion. He will comfort all her waste places, and he will make her wilderness like Eden, and her desert like the garden of the Lord. Joy and gladness shall be found therein, thanksgiving and the voice of melody. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. I told you my throat's not doing good today. And it started yesterday. And it started yesterday with me just talking, just going into it. There's a pilcrow at verse 4, so we can go back and read that again. Pretty self-explanatory, though. Hearken to me, ye that follow after righteousness, ye that seek the Lord. Look unto the rock whence ye are hewn, and to the hole of the pit whence ye are digged. Look unto the rock whence ye are hewn. Is that the what am I trying to think of? The rock that the builders refused, the cornerstone of the foundation. To the hole of the pit which ye are digged. I also smell something too. It almost smells like, I don't know. It smells like something's burning. Could very well be outside. I have no idea. We have not turned the furnace on yet, so it's not the furnace. Look unto Abraham your father, and unto Sarah that bare you, for I called him alone, and blessed him, and increased him. For the Lord shall comfort Zion, he will comfort all her waste places, and he will make her wilderness like Eden, and her desert like the garden of the Lord. Joy and gladness shall be found therein, thanksgiving and the voice of melody. Now, I don't talk about it much, but it has said in the Bible that God can turn the deserts into the fruitful places, and he will turn the fruitful places into the deserts. And he will cause the rivers to change their courses and the oceans to move. And it could have been, this whole world could have been completely different than what we think. And then you hear these guys talk about the supposed map. I just watched something like that yesterday, the map that's in the moon. Now, I've talked about that before, too. The map that's in the moon. I don't know if I agree with what some of these other guys are saying, but I said in the Bible it says that he stamps the earth out. I can't remember exactly what it is. He flattens the earth out like a stamp, and that would be like, you know how they used to put wax on important documents, and then they used to stamp it with a seal. Stamps it like a seal, I think that's what it was. And I was saying that we have something in the sky that kind of, when you look at it, the black parts somewhat resemble what you would see on a flat map. on the I can't remember the name of it now. The AE map, the azimuthal, blah, 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 equidistant, whatever. But it kind of looks like that. You can kind of see the shape of the land masses in that. I think the only thing you couldn't really see is like Australia, but that's a whole nother subject. But of course, now you've got the guys out there that are doing the whole. You can see all the details on like a small corner of the moon. That when you reverse the image, when you have to, I think you have to turn the image upside down, mirror it, and reverse it or something. And then like pull out the negative scale, or I don't know what the hell it is. But you can start seeing the shapes that are inside of the dead spaces that resemble the shapes of the Earth. And it's a really weird thing. It really truly is when you look at it. And it makes sense to a point. So I get it. But I still say that it used to be way different. I mean, it's, for as much as it's been flooded and it's been changed, and God says that he can change it on a whim, that we don't know what the actual, what it used to be, what these people used to see it as. We just don't know. It goes along with the whole story of whenever I talk about pulling the water down just 300 feet, and you start exposing all the land underneath the water, and being able to walk across, and all the pyramids that are underneath the water, and what did this place used to look like? I mean, you have maps in the old days that California used to be an island. There used to be a massive water something that used to go right through the middle of the valley. All the land that is supposedly up in the North Pole. All the land that's down at the South Pole that somebody drew out, perfectly, line for line, right off of the bottom of South America. Drew it perfectly, but it's now all under ice. How could the guy know where the land masses were? So it's changed. And the Bible says that it can be changed. Any time that God wants to, he can change it. I might have to get my cough drops out if this is going to keep up. Verse 4. Hearken unto me, my people, and give ear unto me, O my nation. For a law shall proceed from me, and I will make my judgment to rest for a light of the people. My righteousness is near, my salvation is gone forth, and mine arms shall judge the people. The isles shall wait upon me, and on mine arm shall they trust. Lift up your eyes to the heavens, and look upon the earth beneath. For the heavens shall vanish away like smoke, and the earth shall wax old like a garment, and they that dwell therein shall die in like manner. But my salvation shall be forever, and my righteousness shall not be abolished. Some interesting things there in verse 6. Let's go back up to verse 4, though. Hearken unto me, my people, and give ear unto me, O my nation, for a law shall proceed from me, and I will make my judgment to rest for a light of the people. That judgment to rest for a light of the people. There's a lot of people that have said that is Christ. Christ is the judgment that has come. So he is the light for the people. A law shall proceed from me, a new law, a new covenant. My righteousness is near, my salvation is gone forth, and mine arm shall judge the people. The isle shall wait upon me, and on mine arm shall they trust. So here's where it gets interesting. Lift up your eyes to the heavens and look upon the earth beneath. Read that one again. Lift up your eyes to the heavens and look upon the earth beneath. So is that look at the sky and then look at the earth. The sky, the heavens will vanish away and the earth shall wax old. Now, if I were a conspiracy-minded man, I would say, look up to the heavens and you will see the earth. But look up to the heavens and then look. I think it's what it's supposed to be. And then look upon the earth beneath. Look at the sky and then look at the earth. For the heavens shall vanish away like smoke, and the earth shall wax old like a garment, and they that dwell therein shall die in like manner. Because God said, if you eat of the fruit, you shall die. Of course, the snake had said, you're not going to die. Surely you're not going to die. But my salvation shall be forever, and my righteousness shall not be abolished. It shall be there forever. All you have to do is come to him and ask. His patience is forever. He will wait for you for the right time when you are ready. Just like the prodigal son and the father. He will be waiting for you. He wants you to come back, but he wants you to be ready to come back on your own time. If he forced you to come back, then he wouldn't be a loving father. Because he would be forcing you to do something. He's waiting for you to do it. And a lot of people, they won't hear it. And they won't come back. And that makes them sad. Believe me, we have read it somewhere before where it said that God doesn't want this, but it's going to happen. He made the promise. He's not looking forward to wiping out all of humanity, all of his children, because they want to turn away from him, turn away from his law, his love. He doesn't want that. But he says eventually he's going to have to do it. Because if he doesn't do it, then we're going to wipe ourselves out. We're going to wipe ourselves out. So like any parent, any good parent, he says, if you keep doing this, I'm going to have to punish you. And he has to follow up on it. He said, I will allow you to do this terrible thing that you have done for years and years and years. I will allow you to do this. But I want you to come back eventually. I want you to learn the lesson and come back to me. But if you don't learn the lesson, if you keep up like this, if you follow in the ways of others that only lead to darkness and destruction, then I can't help you. I wish I could remember where that was, where it said it. I don't remember if it was in Isaiah or if it was in one of the Psalms, where it said that God gets no joy in wiping things out. He gets no joy in it. But it's what he has to do. Because if you don't punish your kids, they're going to grow up to be rotten little shits. I'm just saying. Spare the rod, spoil the child. I mean, it just is what it is. The punishment is not hate. I was just watching this on. It was David Letterman was interviewing Mr. Rogers, and he was asking Mr. Rogers what he had coming up, and he was saying that they were doing a whole week on punishment for your children, and he was saying punishment, it's not a bad thing, it's love, because when you're punishing a child, you're teaching them how to do right. You're not hurting them or manipulating them. You're teaching them how to do right. You're teaching them how to be better. You're expressing to them that they have to learn how to love others. That they can be better. And there's ways to go about it where you're not falling into child abuse, because so many people will straight fall into child abuse. Start beating their kids too much. No, there's a way to do it. There's always a way to do it. Give me 10 seconds. Hold on. I do believe my entire sinuses are going to fall out of my head. Verse 7. Hearken unto me, ye that know righteousness, the people in whose heart is my law. Fear ye not the reproach of men, neither be ye afraid of their revilings. For the moth shall eat them up like a garment, and the worm shall eat them like wool. But my righteousness shall be forever, and my salvation from generation to generation. That pretty much speaks for itself. Back to verse 7. Hearken unto me, ye that know righteousness, the people in whose heart is my law. And it says, when you come to Christ, when you come back to God, He will write His law into your heart. He will give you a new heart. He will write His law into your heart, and you will want to follow His laws. You will take in the 10 Commandments. You will take in the entirety of the law and want to do better. That's the true, other people have said this too, that's the true mark of being saved, is that you will want to put away evil. And you will want to follow the true path of righteousness. You will want it. And you will, anytime you go against that, you will be convicted of it. And you will understand that that's not the way you need to go. That you will want to do better. Fear ye not the reproach of men, neither be ye afraid of their revilings. Do not be afraid of men and how much they will hate you for it. And they will hate you simply because you're different than they are. They will hate you because they don't want to follow you. They will hate you because you don't want to follow along with them. They will hate you because you won't feed their vanity. That's pretty much what it is. You won't feed their vanity. You won't feed into their lies and their darkness. You will go your own way. You will refuse the laws of man. You will go your own way, and they will hate you for it. You will not bow down to the masters. You will not bow down to the whims of evil men. You will not sit on your hands and just take it on the chin. You will refuse what they give you, and they will hate you for it. Well, part of that don't you understand? There's more there's more messages in the Bible that say that you are to stand firm against the evils of men and do not follow them than there are times where it says you will simply stand still and take it and do what the masters tell you to do. This is what I've been saying for a long time now. You have the ability to fight back. How you fight back is up to God. You need to pray to Him and ask Him what you want to do. But you don't have to just stand here and take it and wait for some rapture. That's what too many people are doing now. Too many good Christian men, that's what they're doing now. They're just sitting on their hands and they're waiting because they've been told their entire lives to just take it, to just sit and wait. It's absurd. I'm not saying that we have to go out and we have to lynch every evil person in the world, but damn it, we're not supposed to just sit here and do nothing and wait. For the moth shall eat them up like a garment, and the worm shall eat them like wool. And my righteousness shall be forever, and my salvation from generation to generation. Verse 9. Awake, awake, put on strength, O arm of the Lord. Awake as in the ancient days, in the generations of old. It's starting to sound like a Jim Morrison poem. In the generations of old, art thou not it that hath cut Rahab and wounded the dragon? Art thou not it which hath dried the sea, the waters of the great deep, that hath made the depths of the sea a way for the ransomed to pass over? Therefore the redeemed of the Lord shall return, and come with singing unto Zion, and everlasting joy shall be upon their head. They shall obtain gladness and joy, and sorrow and mourning shall flee away. I, even I, am he that comforted you. Who art thou, that thou shouldest be afraid of a man that shall die, and of the Son of Man, which shall be made as grass? And forgettest the Lord thy Maker, that hath stretched forth the heavens, and laid the foundations of the earth, and hast feared continually every day because of the fury of the oppressor, as if he were ready to destroy. And where is the fury of the oppressor? The captive exile hasteneth that he may be loosed, and that he should not die in the pit, nor that his bread should fail. I thought I was going to say fail. But I am the Lord thy God, that divided the sea, whose waves roared. The Lord of hosts is his name. And I have put my words in thy mouth, and I have covered thee in the shadow of mine hand, that I may plant the heavens, and lay the foundations of the earth, and say unto Zion, thou art my people. All right, that's a big one, and I'm going to kind of go through it quick, because there was a lot of self-explanation on here. So going back up to verse 9. Awake, awake, put on strength, O arm of the Lord. Awake as in the ancient days, in the generations of old. Art thou not it that hath cut Rahab and wounded the dragon? Art thou not it that have cut Rahab? And I think we looked this one up before. Rahab is the breadth. It is a mythical sea monster. The storm, arrogance, emblematic name of Egypt. Art thou not it? So wait, awake, put on the strength, O arm of the Lord. The strength. Art thou not it, the strength of the Lord that hath cut Rahab, either the sea monster or Egypt, and wounded the dragon? Now, what is the dragon? the serpent, the sea monster, the dragon, the dinosaur, ooh, the venomous snake, a sea monster. My throat. Hold on a second. Yes, everything is starting to fall apart now. It's all right. I'm not going to get sick. I'm not going to get sick. What's going to happen is this is going to continue on like this for most of the day, and then by I don't know, let's just say 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I will be getting a little bit better. Probably tomorrow, I will probably wake up with another sore throat, but nah, it's not going to drag me down. Where are we at? Art thou not it, the strength of his arm? Art thou not it that hath cut Rahab and wounded the dragon? Art thou not it which hath dried the sea, the waters of the great deep, that hath made the depths of the sea a way for the ransom to pass over? The waters of the great deep that have made the depths of the sea. Now, this isn't just talking about the Red Sea. This isn't just talking about, taking some water that's only 20 or 30 feet. This is the great deep. This is the hella great deep. This is the main waters. So are we talking about just crossing over a 40-mile river? Or are we talking about crossing over a 100-mile ocean? 1,000-mile ocean? Something I've always wondered whenever we talk about Moses crossing the Red Sea. Just because there's a place in the Middle East that everybody calls the Red Sea doesn't mean that that's where they crossed. Now, you also have to remember that more than likely the Israelites in Egyptian times were probably a little bit bigger than we were. We have slowly but surely shrank. We're only growing again because of all the crap and stuff that they put in the food. The hormones and all the GMOs and stuff. People are getting taller now because of the crap they're putting in the food. But I have said before that we were way bigger. Humans were way bigger before the flood. And they talk about giants being miles high. That on the other side of the flood, they were still pretty big. They've slowly but surely gotten smaller. So Moses, I would probably say, Moses and the Israelites, I would probably say were, I'm sure some of them were pretty big, but I'm going to say anywhere between 7 to 10 feet. And those are pretty big strides. Those aren't like little human strides. Those are pretty big, tall, walking strides. And it's entirely possible if you pick a certain part of the ocean, any side of the ocean, the Pacific or the Atlantic, one of the two, that they could cross it fairly quickly with that big of a stride. I know that sounds out there. That sounds like, oh, you've got to be kidding me. There's no real timeline, though, for them crossing the ocean. Could have taken them a day or two. You never know. I'm not saying it happened that way. And I'm not saying, I'm not saying that it was that far off track, but it's something that I've thought of. What if they didn't just cross a sea? What if they crossed the ocean? And it's things like this. Art thou not it which hath dried the sea, the waters of the great deep, that hath made the depths of the sea a way for the ransom to pass over? That is Exodus. Therefore the redeemed of the Lord shall return, and come with singing into Zion. and everlasting joy shall be upon their head. They shall obtain gladness and joy, and sorrow and mourning shall flee away, and that will be a beautiful thing. I, even I, am he that comforted you. Who art thou, that thou shouldest be afraid of a man that shall die, and of the Son of Man, which shall be made as grass? Who art thou that shouldest be afraid of a man that shall die? God has comforted you. Who are you that you're going to be afraid of some man? He will die. Why are you going to be afraid of him? God gives you eternal life. And forgettest the Lord thy Maker, that hath stretched forth the heavens, and laid the foundations of the earth. He laid the foundations on the earth. He didn't lay the foundations of a planet. He laid the foundations of the earth. And hast feared continually every day because of the fury of the oppressor, as if he were ready to destroy. And where is the fury of the oppressor? The captive exile hasteneth that he may be loosed, and that he should not die in the pit, nor that his bread should fail. But I am the Lord thy God, that divided the sea, whose waves roared. The Lord of hosts is his name. Again, dividing the sea, whose waves roared. That's another indication that we're not just talking about just a small body of water that's landlocked. Now, I'm sure that there's waves on a lake. I get that. But we're talking about water that's tall enough to where the waves roared. And I have put my words in thy mouth, and I have covered thee in the shadow of mine hand, that I may plant the heavens, and lay the foundations of the earth, and say unto Zion, thou art my people. Now when I say, them crossing an ocean, I'm not saying that's how it was. I am saying, however, that we are still coming at this the way I was a couple years back whenever I said that we have to start at a blank slate. Everything is a blank slate. So we have to question everything. And it's just one of those things that I've had questions about for a long time now, actually. It's been a while. What if it wasn't just a landlocked body of water? What if it was an ocean? What if they went from one continent to another? I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm just pondering, asking questions. That's all I'm doing. Verse 17. Awake, awake, stand up, O Jerusalem, which hast drunk at the hand of the Lord the cup of his fury. Thou hast drunken the dregs of the cup of trembling, and wrung them out. There is none to guide her among all the sons whom she hath brought forth. Neither is there any that taketh her by the hand of all the sons that she hath brought up. These two things are come unto thee. Who shall be sorry for thee? Desolation and destruction, and the famine, and the sword. By whom shall I comfort thee? Thy sons have fainted. They lie at the head of all the streets, as a wild bull in a net. They are full of the fury of the Lord, the rebuke of thy God. Well, there's a lot of stuff going on in there. Back up to 17. We're almost done here. Back up to 17. Awake, awake, stand up, O Jerusalem, which hast drunk at the hand of the Lord the cup of his fury. Thou hast drunken the dregs of the cup of trembling, and wrung them out. It's because you turned away from the Lord, and you are now experiencing every bit of his fury, because he promised you, if you don't listen to him, and if you turn away, you're going to get punished. There is none to guide her among all the sons whom she hath brought forth. Neither is there any that taketh her by the hand of all the sons that she hath brought up. There is none to guide her among all of her sons, and there is none to take her by the hand for all the sons that she has brought up, because all of your sons have fainted. They are all gone. These two things are come unto thee. Who shall be sorry for thee? Desolation and destruction, and the famine and the sword. By whom shall I comfort thee? I don't know why all four of those, I just have this image of the four horsemen. I don't know why. I'm not saying that it's the same thing. I just, that's a revelation moment right there. Desolation and destruction and the famine and the sword. By whom shall I comfort thee? Thy sons have fainted. They lie at the head of all the streets as a wild bull in a net. They are full of the fury of the Lord, the rebuke of thy God. Thy sons have fainted. They lie at the head of all the streets. As a wild bull in a net. They are powerless. Verse 21, therefore hear now this, thou afflicted and drunken, but not with wine. Thus saith the Lord, okay, whoa. Here we go. Let's try this again. The fact that there's two different fonts on this, the Lord, thy Lord. Thus saith thy Lord, the Lord, and thy God that pleadeth the cause of his people. Behold, I have taken out of thine hand the cup of trembling, even the dregs of the cup of my fury. Thou shalt no more drink it again. But I will put it into the hand of them that afflict thee, which have said to thy soul, bow down, that we may go over. And thou hast laid thy body as the ground, and as the street to them that went over. Now, we need to talk about that for a second, but I wanted to see this 22. Thus saith the Lord, thus saith thy Lord, the Lord. So thus saith the Lord. This is Master, Lord, reference to men. Sovereign, controller, Lord, Master, owner, the Lord, capital Lord, the Most High. The proper name for the one true God, Jehovah. Thus saith your Master, the Lord. See, there's two different. And this is why people always, they kind of go on about, making sure you use the proper name. And there's other places. I'm just looking through right now and I'm seeing it. Just the capitalization of Lord. Lord. It was just weird. It just kind of took me by surprise there. But that's, again, that is one of those things whenever you hear people put the proper name in. Yehovah or Yah. That's where they fill them in. Thus saith thy Lord Yah. So therefore hear now, this is verse 21, therefore hear now this, thou afflicted and drunken, but not with wine. You are drunken upon what is it? When the whore of Babylon comes and you are drunken upon her. Oh, come on now. It's not drunken upon her vanities. It's drunken upon all the things that she has done. It's, drunken upon all of her evils, all of her trespasses, all of her wickedness. Thus saith thy Lord, Jehovah, and thy God that pleadeth the cause of his people. Behold, I have taken out of thine hand the cup of trembling, even the dregs of the cup of my fury. Thou shalt no more drink it again. taking out of thy hand the cup of trembling, the one that you have been using to get drunk on. But I will put it into the hand of them which afflict thee, which have said to thy soul, bow down that we may go over. And thou hast laid thy body as the ground, and as the streets to them that went over. So for those that told you to bow down, and that you did, and you let them run roughshod over you, you will give the cup of trembling and the dregs of his fury into their hands, so that they can be punished the way that you've been punished. Because eventually they have to get theirs. How are they going to get theirs? Well, God is going to come back. He's going to take it all. He's going to take it all back. And we have read there's going to be dancing in the streets, dancing and singing in the streets when God comes back and takes it all away, and he throws all of the evil men into a giant pit of fire. And that's something that I've said before that sounds crazy on the surface. On the surface of it, it sounds crazy. We're going to be dancing and singing whenever we watch all these people burning and dying? Yeah, that's what the Bible said. I've actually said that to a couple people, and they were like, man, that's disturbing. And I was like, well, that's what your Bible says. You're going to be dancing and singing. You're going to be enjoying it. Even though you think that you're not supposed to. You're supposed to be praying for these people. Yeah, you could pray for these people, sure, but when it comes down to it, you're gonna be having a good old time. So you're gonna have to make amends with that eventually. Anyways, I have to stop and do something about my head. I'm yawning now too. That's awesome. I should probably go back to sleep. I should probably just call my boss up and be like, I'm taking a day off. Screw this. No, I'm actually feeling better. I was feeling better than I was an hour ago. I can tell you that much. Yeah. Do something about my head. Might go put a jacket on or something. Just keep yourself warm. That's all it is. That's all I was ever told. You know, you get a cold, you keep yourself warm. You wrap yourself up. You feed yourself hot foods, and you get better. You know, what was the joke about the ancient Indian cure for the cold was Sprite, chicken soup, and what was the other one? NyQuil. That's what it was. It was NyQuil, Sprite, and chicken soup. It's the old Indian cure all, which is what it may come down to. Which, yeah, I think about it. It's ridiculous now. We were in the store, and my wife was showing me they had these 4-pack microwavable chicken noodle soups, Campbell's chicken noodle soups, and I thought, oh, those would make for great lunches. And I actually had to debate whether I was going to buy them or not, and I didn't buy them. I should have bought them. Now that I think about it, because those would probably be the best things for me right now. We got plenty of soup though, but that's humorous. That's funny. That's what it is. All right. Anyways, I'm going to go and take care of this. I'm gonna have to dig out my cough drops. Do something about my throat. Um, but I shall talk to you all later. God bless everyone. You take care of yourselves. I don't have anything else other than that. So, see y'all later.